Welcome to BroadSign's Criteria training video. Criteria is the second video in our network setup tutorial playlist. In this video, we will gain an overview of criteria and how we use them in the BroadSign suite, add some criteria folders, and create some criteria. Criteria are basically keywords. You can use them to create flexible and scalable targeting solutions for your network. You can assign multiple criteria to each display unit or frame for efficient, error-free scheduling. Criteria can be based on anything relevant to your network. It comes down to how you target your network. Here are some sample criteria. Let's say that your network schedules content based on screen location. That network would use geographical criteria, for example, the United States and France. A network operator that manages multiple networks could organize criteria using venue type, like airport or mall. An ad-based network could collect demographic information to offer advertisers, for example, age range or income. This information would help advertisers target the audiences they want. There is no limit to how many criteria you can create or assign. Criteria can work together to allow advanced targeting within your network. For example, we could target all of our display units in airports that are near restaurants but are not video walls. In addition to display unit targeting, you can use criteria to target individual frames in multi-frame layouts. This allows us to target individual frames later on. For example, we could target the main frames of all screens in New York City, or we could target the ticker bar of all screens in airports but not restaurants. Now that we have discussed some general concepts about criteria, let's create some in the BroadSign Administrator. To keep things organized, we will first create a few folders. If you have an existing folder structure, you can skip ahead to Adding Criteria. Folders make criteria easier to locate when you develop multiple ways of targeting your screens. With that in mind, we will add 3 separate folders called Frame, Geographical, and Network Chain. First, from among the resource tabs on the left, select Criteria and Conditions. Then, from any ribbon up top, click the folder icon. As I mentioned, let's call this first folder Frame. Click Finish. You'll see the Frame folder appear in the folder panel. Before adding our next folder, ensure that you select Criteria and Conditions in the folder panel. That way the next 2 folders will be at the same level as the first. Otherwise you'll nest them, and for now we don't want that. Again, from up top, click any folder icon, and go ahead and call the second folder Geographical, and click Finish. And for a third time, click Folder, and let's name this last one Network Chain, and click Finish. We now have our 3 criteria folders: Frame, Geographical, and Network Chain. Now let's create some criteria. We'll organize them within these folders. In the Network Setup ribbon, click on the Criteria or Condition icon. In the Select a Folder dialog box, select Geographical, and click OK. The Add Criteria wizard opens. Let's create 3 geographical criteria and name the first one New York. Click Next. On the Criteria Type page, ensure that All is selected. We explain criteria type in greater detail in the online documentation. Click Finish. In the folder panel, let's click on Geographical. Here we can see our new New York criterion. Let's add some more criteria, which we can do very quickly. Click the Criteria or Condition icon again, and in Geographical, add London. Click Next, and Finish. And let's do the same for a Paris criterion. Enter Paris, click Next, and then Finish. Now let's create a series of frame-related criteria. Select Frame from the folder panel, click the icon, and we'll create a criterion for main. Click Next, and then Finish. Let's create one for side. Click Next and Finish. One for ticker. Next and Finish. And one for background. Next and Finish. Finally, let's add a couple of network chain related criteria. Select the network chain folder, click on the criteria or condition icon, and then add a criterion for restaurants. And another one for retail. Click Next and Finish. With this handful of criteria, we could target a wide variety of screens and frames. For example, we could target the main frame of screens in restaurants in New York, or the ticker frame on retail screens in Paris. The true power of criteria, then, lies in how they are assigned.